A new century, the year 2000. And one, don't forget the one, people often do. Kamen Rider completed its first series after being revived the previous year with Kamen Rider Kuga. But what would they do next? The answer was to continue branching out from what Kamen Rider was known for, but also use Kuga as something of a jumping off point. Kamen Rider Agito is the second series of the 2000s and, for a while, was the only one after the revival to clearly reference a previous series as taking place in the same continuity. There might be some hiccups between what the show says and what it shows us for continuity, but that's a topic for another day. Today's topic is the TV special, Kamen Rider Agito Special, Aratanaru Henshin, or Another Transformation. Previously, I reviewed the TV special for the series after this one. It did not go well, but maybe things will go differently this time. Henshin! Monsters of a mysterious origin are attacking people. Labeled as unknown by the authorities, they target people and their families, with the only clear connection by this point being that some of the targets may have unnatural abilities. I didn't rewatch the whole series for this, so you'll have to forgive me if I get some things in the wrong order, but a lot of information just won't be relevant for this video. The unknown are unaffected by conventional weapons, leaving only 3 people who are capable of combating them. Okay, well 4 at this point, but that's what I was talking about. Another Agito debuted in the TV series just the day before the special, but he's not mentioned here, so we're just gonna ignore him. As for the 3 we are talking about, Tsugami Shoichi, Kamen Rider Agito. Shoichi is an amnesiac who was found washed up on the beach. He now lives with Dr. Mitsuki, the doctor's son, and the doctor's niece Mana. Shoichi has a 6th sense for detecting when the unknown are attacking. This causes him to rush to that location and transform using the powers he has as a person who is an Agito. Hikawa Makoto, Kamen Rider G3X. Appearing before the rider that the series is named after, Hikawa uses a system developed by the officials after a previous series of incidents. He's initially just G3, but G3 was nearly useless in a fight, thus necessitating something stronger. Hikawa works within the G3 unit with Ozawa, the creator of the G3 system, and Omuro, an average guy. Ashihara Ryo, Kamen Rider Gills. Put simply, Ashihara exists to suffer. His power works similar to that of an Agito, with there being a connection, but his power, until somewhat recently, affects his body much more harshly. Being Gills has also led to his life falling apart, so he's got that going for him as well. You can tell how well he's doing from the fact that I'm not naming any more characters as being his support group. While there is a lot more that's happened in the story up to this point, this is more or less all you need to know for watching Another Transformation. The special starts with an introduction of the 3 riders for first-time viewers. Well, shoot. Did I really need to write my own recap then? For the actual start, we have an office worker telling his coworker to leave so he can get killed. Because his smoking is getting in the way. Right. Remember, kids, smoking wait, no. The smoker wasn't the victim. Abort the anti-smoking PSA. The scene is investigated by 2 of our recurring police characters, the scheming Hojo and... Hojo, correctly, assumes that this was the work of an unknown. During a meeting at police headquarters, Hojo is critical of the G3 unit.
G3X の装着員たる氷川主任にお聞きしたいことがあるのですが、あなたは今まで G3X を装着し、数々のアンノーンと戦ってきた。しかし、なぜ被害者は後を絶たないのか。それはあなたたち G3 ユニットが常に後手に回っているから。
He's not trying to criticize them, so he says, but is just bringing up the fact that they only have a reactive answer to the unknown in a very Hojo way, instead of cutting to the chase. There's no telling when the ongoing situation will end. The brass agree and are going to a radical plan. Yes, a radical plan. Surely it won't be something kind of obvious. Later, Shoichi is having dinner with the family. Exposition. It's a little clunky and unneeded since the intro already told us he's an amnesiac. The new information here, however, is that their dinner is the same thing he first ate when he woke up. His doctor, a man named Kunieda, made him eat a pepper salad after, understandably, being in shock from waking up with amnesia. And speak of the devil. The little old lady is too lost to give directions, but she does have a snack to share, meaning he can't just toss her off the bike. Wait, yokan? Alright, Agito. The special marks the first usage of the second version of the theme song. Okay, second usage. You better not make a habit out of this, movie. A new project has come down from the top. G3 Mild, a rebuild of the original G3 suit made for use by anyone. Okay, so part of the concern at the meeting was that G3X alone might not be enough to combat the unknown. We're about to see in a minute that is true in a literal sense, but what about what Hojo was actually saying? They can only respond to unknown attacks. This might be a better response, being more able to fight back and quicker to arrive at the scene if they are spread out, but it's not related to being proactive. Heck, the opening kill was over and done with without anyone even seeing an unknown. Sure, there's not a lot they could do to learn more about the unknown that they weren't hopefully already doing, but what does this have to do with improving on that? And radical? Yeah, not exactly thinking outside the box with that one. Well, aren't you too supportive? Shoichi is watering his garden while a child is traumatized for life. The cops were guarding the man, the brother of the first victim, and what in the world is he doing? The targeted man is dead and the unknown is walking the other way. Why are you trying to subdue a monster when y'all should have been told months ago that doing this is pointless? Hikawa arrives in time to save one of the cops, but is forced to bring out the literal big gun early. Now Hikawa needs to be saved by Shoichi, and... uh-oh. Though Horn's doing that means he's using his finishing move. I didn't mention him doing anything else because he does this only 10 seconds after showing up, which is a flag for the Rider kick being horribly ineffective. Nani? Hikawa fires a missile, giving the unknown a chance to escape before the smoke clears way too quickly. It honestly messes up my immersion, since it doesn't cover the screen and Agito was on his back, and yet he was still gone in an instant. Shoichi heads home, only for some jerk to almost ram right into him. Yo, Shoichi. Kunieda-sensei! Oh, never mind. It's okay for him to do something so dang reckless, for he is a doctor, you see. Kunieda stops by the Mizuki household. He says that Shoichi went from being in shock to the person they're used to seeing when Shoichi looked up to the sky. Kunieda says that he came to check up on Shoichi, but Shoichi can tell that there's something on the doctor's mind, but that will have to wait till later. There's another victim that needs saving, and... scratch that. There's a monster that needs defeating. Kunieda tailed Shoichi, letting him witness Shoichi's transformation into Agito's burning form. Huh. I wonder if he had any connection to that guy calling him Dad. Well, shoot. The cuts in this fight are kind of odd. Maybe the bits they had to cut out were unusable? Regardless, I still really dig nighttime fight scenes. Shoichi is unable to defeat the unknown before it disappears. Again. Burning form is on a rampage, however, and Kunieda has to yell out to Shoichi to get him to come to his senses. Unsurprisingly, Shoichi is horrified that his mysterious power almost had him kill someone. Now, I actually did see the episodes before this special that featured burning form. While I didn't seem to lose control there, we did see Agito's original ground form attack G3 early on. It's not unreasonable to say that the powers of being in Agito are sometimes in control, rather than Shoichi himself. Heck, he ran into places without being aware of what he was doing. I think that's a reasonable impression. The next morning, the police find the ashes of the most recent victim. Hearing that Agito was spotted last night while the authorities were unable to make it to the incident, Hojo is still insistent on finding another way to deal with the problem. When he states his intention to build a profile of the unknown, in the same way that they might for a human subject, Detective Kono suggests a psychologist he knows, since this isn't really Hojo's area of expertise. A psychologist, you say. Wonder where this is heading. Shoichi finally wakes up. He apologizes to Kunieda and admits he has a fear of losing himself in his power of Agito. And oh, that's where this was heading.
見られちゃいましたね。俺がアギトになったとこ。俺、アギトなんです。アギト?
Hojo overhears Shoichi talking about being Agito, meaning this TV special is not canon. This special aired after episode 35. Episode 36 will not have Hojo know Agito's real identity. It might also just be hard to slide it into the main story given how serialized it all is. You kind of figure it wouldn't be important to the TV series given the scheduling of it, but that's something for a later segment. Afterwards, the G3 Mild project is to move forward with Omuro as the test candidate.
あなたが G3 マイルドを扱えればあとは誰でも扱えるわけだし、テスト装着員としてあなた以上の人間はいないわ。
Wow, Omuro, you have the nicest friends ever. When the unit runs into Hojo, they assume he's upset about not being the candidate.
G3 マイルド何の話ですか？
何とボケてるね。
Now that's something to put a pin in for later. Anyway, Hojo tells them that he has his own plan, and it's going to be great, and you guys are going to be blown away. Really, you guys?
きっとあなたたちは私の足元にひざまずき、今までの無礼を涙ながらに詫びるでしょう。小さな子羊たちをね。
子羊？
いえ。
いや。
After Mana returns home, Shoichi is unable to handle what happened last night, and runs off to get fertilizer. Fertilizer being in quotation marks, since it's just an excuse to run away from his problems. At the same time, Kunieda, thinking more about it, determines not to run away from this. Meanwhile, Hojo is moving ahead with his plan. Did he really have enough to go on to get permission to capture someone? I don't know. The bigger question about it is coming up in a minute anyway. After a phone call doesn't tell us anything more about where Shoichi is, Mana reaches out to someone for help.
探してもらえませんか？
俺は君には借りがある。
Oh, if it isn't Ashihara Ryo! Nice to see you more than halfway through the special. And for some reason, the scene plays out like this.
俺は君には借りがある。けれど奴のお守りをする気はない。ピーマンの肥料を買ってくる。
That is weird, right? Looking for Shoichi on her behalf is doing a favor for Mana. You owe her one. Why bother with the fake out as if he wasn't going to actually help? Shoichi is found by Kunieda. And my goodness, what happened with the camera? The first part of the scene is just two guys talking. Where are the tripods? If you're not too focused on reading the subtitles and you're looking at the picture as a whole, the camera shakes become distracting. Kunieda says Shoichi is running away from his problem. When Shoichi then turns away from him, Kunieda then starts hitting him. You're beating yourself up, Shoichi. Let me do that instead to help you. Oddly, the camera becomes a lot steadier when the fight starts. Kunieda tells Shoichi about his son, Hiroki.
自殺だった。息子の体もアギトになった。アギトに？
俺、死ぬよ。俺が俺で亡くなる前に。
Hiroki couldn't handle what was happening to him. Kunieda doesn't want Shoichi to lose to Agito as well.
空はいつだって空だ。雲の上は変わらん。だけど、同じ空だったら晴れてる方がいい。先生の病院で窓から青空を見た時のこと。生きてるっていいなって思ったこと。俺もう一度一からやってみます。
The beating and the talk were successful, and not a moment too soon as the next target is attacked. Shoichi heads out. The climax of the special is approaching, and... God dang cops.
津上正一。いや、アギト。
Always pulling people over under the suspicion that they're an unidentified life form or something. With Shoichi in custody, and Ashihara spotting him, it's up to Hikawa and Omuro. What? One of Omuro's lines earlier was asking Hikawa if he could become Hikawa's apprentice. Why is he then going to the scene first? Well, that is one way to help someone escape from the police. Hojo thinks he's got it bad now, but unfortunately for him, Ashihara remembers Hojo from when he tried to capture him while he was transformed. Well, he's already probably in a lot of trouble from what he did a moment ago. What's insulting a cop can add to it? For a more serious thought, however, Ashihara doesn't seem to be in any trouble. When we next see him, it's when he and Shoichi arrive at the battle. The cops never seem to come back for either of them. I already mentioned earlier that this special isn't a part of the TV series' continuity, but it does lead into the movie Project G4, and that film does not follow up on this at all. So, the biggest subplot of the special, Hojo discovering Shoichi's alter ego and targeting him, amounts to nothing. He gets all this screen time, goes down a path that results in him learning a major secret, but nothing important happens because of it. Shoichi getting arrested is big, but it is resolved one scene later. Pressing on, Omuro as G3 Mild makes his debut. Well, he did help those two guys escape. That's important. Hikawa fights the unknown by himself, the battery of the suit wearing down quickly from trying to keep up with the strong opponent. Omuro gets to help a little more by switching out his and Hikawa's batteries. Good for him. Luckily for them, our other two riders arrive to fight. Yeah, the situation is still dire. With Agito being knocked outside, however, he is able to take in some sunlight from the clear sky above. Not only does this help him recompose himself, but it leads to another change as well. Just as the title foretold, we have another transformation. Agito's shining form is here, and they do what they can to make it look amazing. It's more than a match physically for the unknown. The kicks and punches create an afterimage, and, after not having been used for a while, the insert song Believe Yourself plays upon its unveiling. This is how you handle an ultimate form change. After the battle, Omuro apologizes to the group, but they tell him not to feel down about it. And thank you, Special, for not trying to go for that joke about him being ordinary for a third time. Still, Omuro expresses his concern that what they have now really isn't enough, especially if the unknown continued to get stronger. While Shoichi and the family eat more peppers, Kunieda departs. Our final scene is of Ozawa, looking over something stronger than G3X, but also too dangerous. After she leaves, we see a woman sneak in, looking over the data. To be continued. In the movie. Which will be its own video. Henshin! This is definitely something I remember watching way back when and thinking, this is good. Do I still think that? Yes, but it definitely has its shortcomings, and I would be hard-pressed to call it great. I already mentioned this earlier, but it's not great seeing a subplot take up so much time just to have so little payoff. The special is just under 45 minutes. Hojo and his subplot, including the entire meeting scene, is over 5 minutes total. Does roughly 1/9 of something count as a lot? I'm going to say yes. Upon writing this script out, I'm wondering if an intro to the three riders was necessary. Actually, I meant mine. Agito gets the most screen time and the best parts of the story. Shoichi uses a mysterious power. Until Burning Form debuted, Shoichi, and the audience for that matter, was likely to have gotten used to Agito. It's a power he uses to save people, but it continued to change over time, eventually leading to a change, Burning Form in the way it was depicted here, that was much more than he bargained for. Being an Agito, even for him, isn't just a simple superpower. Dr. Kunieda is a workable retcon into Shoichi's backstory. Losing your kid is a major hardship. Knowing that they took their own life from circumstances beyond your comprehension only makes it harder. It's understandable both why he would want to leave and why he resorts to drastic measures after Shoichi walks away from him. The change in Shining Form is given a deeper meaning here, as opposed to the TV series where it just sort of happens. G3X is part of a team and shares in the non-action scenes with his group. While not foreshadowed properly at the meeting, unless that was supposed to be about G4, but I digress, G3 Mild is a decent subplot for the unit in my opinion. And then there's Gills. Counting his time while transformed, he has like 2 minutes of screen time? Ashihara's role feels sort of tacked on. He resolves a subplot that didn't really justify itself in the first place. Actually, was it resolved? As simple as it would be, I don't think punching a cop in the face makes him leave you alone. And Ashihara is the only one of the three riders who isn't seen again after the fight. Still, I can't downplay the impact they gave him. The writers didn't all need equal screen time or importance here, but I do wonder if things should have been balanced a little differently. All this being said, I don't believe these subplots drag down the main plot. Rather, it is just that they fail to elevate the special. The weaker parts don't hurt it overall, but are more clearly not as good on repeated viewings, unlike the main plot, where my appreciation for it has only gone up over time. Another thing to keep in mind when considering the shortcomings, and especially any continuity flubs, is the production schedule. Inoue Toshiki is credited as the writer for this special, the movie, and all 51 episodes of Agito. Agito is almost an entirely serialized story. That doesn't mean you don't criticize it, but it does let me be a bit more forgiving for a side story that might not have as much priority. And again, this special was good, it didn't warrant a rant. All that's really left for me to state an issue with, and I say issue, but this really falls more under trivia, is the release schedule. Now that has got to be something I would imagine, in a way, didn't have the most solidified information to work with, as that might have been subject to change at any number of points. The title is Another Transformation. It was the TV debut of Agito's Shining form, but the key word there is TV. Despite being named for the form change, Shining form was first seen in action in the movie. Project G4 was released on September 22nd, more than a week before the special aired. Another Transformation ends on a lead-in to the movie. You could argue that it's still fine for something to promote the still-in-theaters movie, and it is, but it's still weird for it to just barely be released out of order. Anybody wanting to watch all of Agito in release order might think that they did it wrong, but it doesn't stop there either. Just like the other two reveals of the form, Agito is in Burning Form first. Burning Form debuted here first too, beating out the TV series' episode 34 by just a day. I didn't forget about you, Gills. Even Gills' form change showed up there first, not appearing in the series until episode 39. So yeah, things went pretty well this time. Another Transformation is a detour for Agito worth taking the time to see. Will I be able to say the same thing for the movie? I don't know. I need to actually rewatch it. I only skimmed it for this video, so I'll just let future me worry about that.